I never thought my own daughter would steal my life's work right from under me. But what she didn't know was that I had already set my plan in motion days before she even tried. Get ready, because what you're about to hear is not just a story, it's a reckoning. Comment below where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. My name is Norma Hamilton, and at 74 years old, I thought I'd seen everything. I was wrong. Dead wrong. It was a Tuesday morning in October when my phone rang at exactly 6:47 a.m. The caller ID showed Samantha. My daughter, my only child, the person I trusted more than anyone in this world. Mom, we need to talk. Her voice was different. Cold, businesslike. Not the warm tone I'd raised her with for 46 years. I was sitting in my kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd made her breakfast every morning before school, where I'd celebrated her graduation, where I'd held her when her father died. The morning light filtered through my yellow curtains, casting shadows across my coffee cup. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" I asked, though something deep in my gut already knew this wasn't going to be good news. "I sold the ranch, Mom. And your car too. The papers went through yesterday." The words hit me like a physical blow. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles went white. "What did you just say?" "You heard me. The Riverside Ranch is sold. $2.8 million. After taxes and fees, there's about $2.4 million left. My ranch. The place I'd poured my heart, soul, and every penny into for the last 15 years. Samantha, how could you possibly sell my ranch? It's in my name. My deed. My property." My voice was shaking now, but not from weakness. From rage building deep in my chest. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, Mom. You really don't remember signing those papers last year, do you? When you were so worried about your memory issues. You gave me power of attorney. Complete control over all your assets." I felt the room spinning. I did remember being scared about forgetting things. Small things at first. Where I put my keys, what I had for lunch. Samantha had been so caring, so concerned. She'd driven me to that lawyer's office in downtown Austin, held my hand, told me it was just a precaution. "I never agreed to let you sell anything." I shouted into the phone. "Well, legally you did. And frankly, Mom, you're getting too old to manage that big property anyway. You should be grateful I found you such a good retirement home. Sunset Manor has great reviews." Sunset Manor. I'd driven past that place countless times. It looked like a prison with flowers painted on the walls. The thought of leaving my ranch, my horses, my life for some sterile facility made my stomach turn. "What about the money, Samantha? Where's my money?" "I'm being very generous, Mom. I'm giving you $15,000. That should be plenty for your care. The rest? Well, let's just say I've got college funds to think about for Emma and Jake. And Mateo and I have been wanting to upgrade our house. 15,000. Out of 2.4 million. For the woman who raised her, sacrificed everything for her, worked 3 jobs to put her through college. You can't be serious, Samantha. That ranch is worth everything to me. Do you know what I went through to build that place?" But she didn't know. She'd never asked. Never cared to learn about the blood, sweat, and tears that went into every fence post, every renovated barn, every carefully chosen piece of equipment. Let me tell you what that ranch really meant. After Samantha's father died in 2008, I was 59 years old with a mortgage, no savings, and a daughter finishing her master's degree. I could have sold our family home and moved somewhere small and quiet. Instead, I saw an opportunity. My neighbor, old Pete Harrison, was desperate to sell his rundown property. 300 acres of Texas hill country, complete with a half-collapsed house and barns that looked like they'd fall over in a strong wind. He wanted $400,000, but his wife's medical bills were crushing him. I offered him $300,000, every penny from my husband's life insurance policy. "Mom, you're crazy," Samantha had said back then. "You don't know anything about ranching." But I knew about working hard. I knew about not giving up. And I had something Samantha never understood: vision. I spent the next 7 years working as a night shift nurse while transforming that broken-down property during the day. No sleep, no social life, no vacations. Just me, my determination, and YouTube videos teaching me everything from fence repair to horse care. The renovations alone cost me $150,000. New roofing, electrical systems, plumbing, a state-of-the-art barn. I turned those 300 acres into something magical. But that's all in the past now, Samantha continued coldly. I've already put a deposit down on your room at Sunset Manor. They have a spot available next Monday. You should start packing. Next Monday. 6 days to leave everything I'd built, everything that mattered to me. I looked out my kitchen window at the rolling pastures where my 3 horses were grazing peacefully in the morning sun. Bella, my Palomino mare, lifted her head and looked right at me as if she sensed something was wrong. What about my horses? I whispered. Already sold them too. Got a good price. $8,000 for the 3 of them. That money's going toward your care as well. My horses. Bella, Thunder, and little Rosie. I'd rescued Bella from an abusive situation 5 years ago. She'd been broken, scared, barely able to trust humans. It took me 2 years of patience and gentle care to help her heal. Now she was the most beautiful, spirited horse you'd ever see. Thunder was my riding companion. We'd covered every trail in the county together. And Rosie, sweet Rosie, was just a yearling I'd been training with such hope for her future. Samantha, please. You can't do this to me. This is my home. These animals depend on me. Mom, you're being dramatic. You're 74 years old. It's time to face reality. You can't take care of yourself anymore, let alone a bunch of animals and 300 acres. That stung because I knew where it came from. Last month I'd fallen off a ladder while cleaning my gutters. Scraped up my arm pretty bad and had to get stitches. Samantha had made such a big deal about it, calling it a clear sign that I couldn't live independently. But I'd been climbing ladders my whole life. One fall didn't make me helpless. Besides, Samantha continued, her voice taking on that businessman tone she used with her real estate clients, keeping you on that ranch was becoming expensive. Property taxes alone are $12,000 a year. Then there's maintenance, utilities, feed for the horses. You're burning through money you don't have. This was rich, coming from someone who lived in a $500,000 house in North Austin and drove a BMW that cost more than most people make in a year. Samantha had done well for herself in real estate, I'll give her that. She and her husband Mateo lived in one of those fancy neighborhoods where every house looked like it belonged in a magazine. But they also lived beyond their means. I knew because she'd come to me 3 times in the past 2 years asking for loans. $5,000 here, $8,000 there. Money for Emma's private school, for Jake's travel baseball team, for a family vacation to Europe. I'd given it to her every time because that's what mothers do. We sacrifice for our children. Even when they're grown. Even when they don't appreciate it. You know what really bothers me, Samantha? You didn't even ask. You just decided my life was over and made arrangements accordingly. I'm trying to take care of you, Mom. Someone has to be the adult here. The adult. As if raising her, working multiple jobs, building a successful ranch from nothing, didn't qualify me as adult enough to make my own decisions. And what if I refuse to go to Sunset Manor? Then you'll be homeless, Mom. Because the new owners take possession of the ranch on Friday. Either way, you're leaving that place. Friday. Today was Tuesday. 3 days to pack up 15 years of my life and accept defeat. But Samantha had made one critical mistake. One assumption that was about to cost her everything. What my dear daughter didn't know was that I'd been expecting this phone call for weeks. Not hoping for it, but expecting it. You see, Samantha had been acting strange lately. Too interested in my finances. Too concerned about my mental state. Too eager to help with paperwork. And I'd noticed other things. Little things that might seem paranoid to someone who hadn't lived 74 years and learned to read people. Like how she'd started bringing Mateo to all our family dinners, and how he'd steer conversations toward my estate planning. How she'd asked pointed questions about my will. How she'd insisted on getting copies of all my important documents, just in case something happened. 3 weeks ago, I'd done something Samantha would never expect from her declining mother. I'd hired a private investigator. His name was Tom Rodriguez, a former police detective who specialized in financial fraud. I'd found him through my neighbor's son who'd used him during a messy divorce. Tom was expensive, $200 a day plus expenses, but I had to know what Samantha was really up to. What he found shocked even me. Samantha had been researching Sunset Manor for 6 months. She'd already toured the facility twice and put her name on a waiting list for their premium care package, which costs $3,500 a month. She'd also been in contact with a ranch broker about getting my property appraised, claiming she was asking for estate planning purposes. But the most devastating discovery was the bank records Tom obtained through his contacts. Samantha had been living far beyond her means for years. She and Mateo owed $87,000 in credit card debt, were 3 months behind on their mortgage, and had borrowed against Mateo's 401k twice. They weren't trying to protect me. They were trying to save themselves. But Tom's investigation revealed something even more important. Something that would turn Samantha's entire plan upside down. That power of attorney she was so confident about, the one she claimed gave her complete control over my assets, it had a very specific limitation clause that her high-priced lawyer had apparently overlooked. The document clearly stated that any sale of real property over $500,000 required my explicit written consent, witnessed by 2 unrelated parties, and filed with the county clerk's office within 30 days of my signing it. Samantha had my signature on the power of attorney, but she didn't have my consent for the sale, which meant legally she'd just committed a felony. But I wasn't ready to play that card yet. Oh no. Samantha had humiliated me, threatened me, and tried to steal everything I'd worked for. She deserved more than just legal consequences. She deserved to feel the same helplessness she'd tried to inflict on me. So that's it then? I said quietly into the phone. 15 years of my life and you're giving me $15,000 and a room in a nursing home? Mom, don't be so dramatic. Sunset Manor is a nice place. You'll make friends. They have activities. Activities. Like I was a toddler who needed to be entertained. And the $15,000? That's supposed to last how long? Well, with the monthly fees and your other expenses, probably about 4 months. But don't worry, Medicaid will kick in after that. 4 months. Samantha had calculated that her own mother was worth exactly 4 months of care before she became the government's problem. I guess I don't have a choice then, I said, letting my voice sound defeated and old. You're doing the right thing, Mom. In a few months, you'll see that this was all for the best. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen for a long time, staring out at my horses and thinking about my next move. ## Chapter 8. Setting the Trap. That afternoon I called Tom Rodriguez. Tom, it's Norma Hamilton. I need you to document everything. Every conversation, every transaction, every lie. And I need you to do it fast. Mrs. Hamilton, are you sure you want to go through with this? Taking legal action against your own daughter. Tom, my daughter just stole $2.4 million from me and tried to convince me it was for my own good. What would you do? I heard him sigh. I'd make sure she paid for it. What do you need? Over the next 2 days, Tom worked faster than I'd ever seen anyone work. He documented the fraudulent sale, gathered evidence of Samantha's financial desperation, and prepared a case that would not only reverse the ranch sale but potentially send Samantha to prison for elder abuse and fraud. But I had a better plan. Thursday morning I called Samantha back. Sweetheart, I've been thinking about what you said. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is time for me to accept help. I could hear the relief in her voice. Oh, Mom, I'm so glad you're being reasonable about this. I do have one request though. Before I move to Sunset Manor, I'd like to have a farewell dinner. Here at the ranch. With you and Mateo and the kids. One last family meal in the home where you grew up. Mom, I don't think. Please, Samantha. It's the least you can do. Let me say goodbye properly. She agreed, probably because she thought I'd finally given up. We set it for Saturday evening, the day after the new owners were supposed to take possession. What Samantha didn't know was that there were no new owners. The sale she was so proud of had been legally voided the moment Tom filed our paperwork with the county courthouse on Wednesday morning. Saturday arrived with perfect autumn weather. I spent the morning cooking Samantha's favorite meal, the same pot roast and mashed potatoes I'd made for her birthday every year since she was 5. I set the dining room table with my best china, the set that had been my mother's and would have been Samantha's someday. Would have been. I'd invited a few extra guests that Samantha didn't know about. Tom Rodriguez was parked down the road with his camera and recording equipment. My neighbor Betty was hiding in my guest room. She'd agreed to be a witness to whatever happened. And I'd asked my lawyer, Patricia Whitman, to join us for dessert. At exactly 6 o'clock, Samantha's BMW pulled into my driveway. She got out looking beautiful as always, designer dress, perfect makeup, that confident smile she wore when she thought she'd gotten her way. Mateo followed, looking uncomfortable. He'd always been the weaker one in their marriage, letting Samantha make all the decisions and going along with her schemes. Emma and Jake bounded out of the backseat. 16 and 14 now, they were good kids who had no idea their mother was a thief. Emma gave me a huge hug. Grandma Maggie, I can't believe you're really leaving the ranch. This place is so cool. Yeah, Jake added. Mom said you might get confused and hurt yourself out here, but you seem totally fine to me. Samantha shot them both warning looks. Kids, help your grandmother with the food. Mateo and I need to discuss some business with her. Business. Even at my farewell dinner, it was all business to Samantha. We sat down to eat and for a moment it almost felt like old times. The kids chattered about school and friends. Mateo made awkward small talk about sports. Samantha actually complimented my cooking. But I could see her checking her watch. She was anxious to get this over with and get back to her new life, funded by my stolen money. After dinner, while the kids were outside exploring the barn, Samantha pulled out a manila envelope. Mom, I have some paperwork for you to sign. Final transfer documents and your admission forms for Sunset Manor. They need everything completed by Monday morning. I looked at the papers she spread across my kitchen table. Official-looking documents that would sign away the last of my rights, the last of my dignity, the last of my independence. There's also this, she said, pulling out a check. $15,000 just like I promised. More than generous, considering all the expenses I'm covering. $15,000. Written in Samantha's careful handwriting on her business account check. Payment for a life's work. Payment for raising her, loving her, trusting her. You know what, sweetheart? I said, looking up at her. Before I sign anything, I have something to show you. I walked to my kitchen junk drawer and pulled out a thick folder. Inside were copies of all the documents Tom had prepared. Bank records showing her debts. Photos of her touring Sunset Manor 6 months ago. The legal brief explaining why her sale of my ranch was fraudulent and void. And at the very top, a copy of the power of attorney she was so confident about, with the critical limitation clause highlighted in bright yellow. I watched her face as she realized what she was looking at. The color drained from her cheeks. Her hands started to shake. What? Where did you get these? Oh, Samantha. Did you really think I was too old and confused to protect myself? Did you really believe I'd just lie down and let you steal everything I've worked for? Mateo looked confused. What's going on? Samantha, what is she talking about? Samantha was frantically flipping through the documents now, her lawyer's mind processing the legal implications. Mom, this isn't what it looks like. Isn't it? Because it looks like my daughter researched nursing homes 6 months before she claimed to be worried about my health. It looks like she forged documents to steal my property. It looks like elder abuse and fraud. The kids had come back inside and were standing in the doorway, sensing the tension but not understanding it. Grandma, Emma said quietly. What's wrong? Why is Mom crying? Samantha was crying now, angry, frustrated tears. But not tears of remorse. Tears of someone whose carefully laid plan was falling apart. You can't do this to me, Mom. We're family. I was trying to help you. Help me. By stealing $2.4 million? By lying to me for months? By trying to lock me away so I couldn't interfere with your plans? Mateo was reading over the documents now, his face getting paler by the minute. Samantha, Jesus Christ, what did you do? These bank statements. We owe this much money. Mateo, shut up. Samantha's mask was completely off now. No more pretending to be the caring daughter. Now she was just angry and desperate. Mom, even if you think you can prove something, it'll take years in court. Lawyers will cost you everything. Is that really how you want to spend your final years? Fighting with your only child. She was threatening me now. Still trying to manipulate me, even with the evidence of her crimes spread across my kitchen table. Oh, sweetheart, I said, my voice getting stronger with every word. You still don't understand, do you? The sale of my ranch was legally voided 3 days ago. There are no new owners taking possession. This property never left my name. I watched her face as the full reality hit her. That means the money you thought you had access to? It never existed. That means the debts you planned to pay off with my ranch? They're still your problem. And that means the check you wrote me for $15,000? It's about to bounce because your account is overdrawn. Samantha stood up so fast she knocked over her chair. That's impossible. The closing happened. I have the paperwork. You have fraudulent paperwork for a sale that was never legal. And now you're going to face the consequences. At that moment, Patricia Whitman, my lawyer, knocked on the front door. I timed this perfectly. Kids, I said gently to Emma and Jake, who were looking scared and confused. Why don't you go upstairs and watch TV? The adults need to talk. Patricia entered my kitchen carrying a briefcase and wearing the stern expression she reserved for courtrooms. She'd been my lawyer for 12 years, ever since I'd bought the ranch, and she'd seen me through every challenge and triumph. Good evening, everyone, she said formally. Samantha, Mateo, I'm here to inform you that criminal charges are being filed first thing Monday morning. Elder abuse, fraud, attempted theft of property, and forgery of legal documents. Samantha laughed bitterly. You can't prove any of that. Patricia opened her briefcase and pulled out another stack of documents. Actually, we can. The private investigator your mother hired documented everything. Bank records, recorded phone conversations, photographs of you touring Sunset Manor months before you claimed to be concerned about your mother's welfare. Moreover, Patricia continued, the fraudulent sale you attempted has been reported to the FBI's Elder Fraud Unit. This isn't just a state crime anymore. It's federal. Mateo looked like he might pass out. Samantha, you said this was all legal. You said your mom agreed to everything. I did agree to give her power of attorney, I said. But only for emergencies and routine business. Not to steal my life's work and abandon me in a nursing home. Samantha was pacing now, her mind racing for some way out of this trap. Fine. We'll reverse everything. We'll tear up all the contracts. We'll pretend this never happened. Oh, but it did happen, I said. You showed me exactly who you are, Samantha. You showed me that 15 years of sacrifice, of loving you unconditionally, of supporting your dreams, meant nothing to you. You saw me as an obstacle to your financial problems, not as your mother. The kitchen was silent except for the ticking of my grandfather clock and Mateo's heavy breathing. Emma and Jake's footsteps creaked on the floorboards above us. What do you want from us? Mateo finally asked. I looked at both of them. I want you to leave my property and never come back. I want you to explain to your children why they won't be seeing their grandmother anymore. And I want you to live with the consequences of your choices. Samantha's face hardened. All pretense of love or family loyalty was gone now. You're really going to destroy your own daughter over money? I'm not destroying you, Samantha. You destroyed yourself. You destroyed us. I'm just refusing to be your victim. Patricia handed them official notification papers. You're both banned from this property as of now. Any attempt to contact Mrs. Hamilton except through legal counsel will be considered harassment. As they gathered their things, Samantha turned back to me one last time. You'll regret this, Mom. When you're old and alone with no family, you'll remember that you chose money over your daughter. No, I said quietly. I'll remember that I chose dignity over theft. I'll remember that I chose self-respect over being manipulated. And I'll remember that my daughter saw me as nothing more than a bank account to be drained. They left without saying goodbye to the kids. I heard Emma crying upstairs, confused and heartbroken. Jake came down a few minutes later. Grandma Maggie? Are my parents criminals? How do you explain to a 14-year-old that his mother tried to steal from his grandmother? How do you protect a child's innocence while still telling the truth? Your parents made some very bad choices, sweetheart. But that doesn't mean they don't love you. Can we still visit you? I looked at Patricia, who nodded slightly. We'll see, Jake. We'll see. After they left, I sat on my porch watching the sunset paint my pastures gold and red. Bella wandered over to the fence and nickered softly as if asking if everything was okay. "Yeah, girl," I whispered. "Everything's going to be okay now." But I was lying. Nothing felt okay. I'd saved my ranch, protected my independence, and stood up for myself. I'd won completely. So why did victory taste so bitter? 6 months later, I'm writing this story from the same kitchen where Samantha tried to steal my future. The criminal charges were dropped after she agreed to pay full restitution and perform 200 hours of community service. Mateo filed for divorce 3 months ago. Emma and Jake visit me every other weekend. Samantha can't stop them now that they're old enough to choose. The ranch is thriving. I hired a part-time farmhand, a young woman named Jessica who reminds me of Samantha at that age. Ambitious, smart, but with a moral compass that actually points north. She's studying veterinary medicine and plans to take over the ranch someday. We've drawn up legal documents that protect us both. I started a non-profit organization called Silver Shield that helps elderly people recognize and prevent financial abuse by family members. We've already helped 37 seniors avoid situations like mine. Tom Rodriguez works with us part-time, teaching people how to protect themselves. Samantha sent me a letter 2 months ago. A real letter, handwritten, not typed. In it, she apologized for everything and asked if we could try to rebuild our relationship. She's in therapy, she said. She's learning about her problems with money and control and selfishness. I haven't answered yet. Maybe someday I will. Maybe someday I'll be ready to risk my heart again with someone who broke it so completely. But not today. Today I'm 75 years old and I'm sitting in my own kitchen on my own land, surrounded by my own horses, living on my own terms. I survived the ultimate betrayal and came out stronger. And that, my friends, is something worth fighting for. If this story touched you, please subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Remember, it's never too late to stand up for yourself, no matter who tries to tear you down. Even if it's your own family.